Welcome everyone to the resource pop-up on elevator speeches utilizing for professional development. So go ahead and in the chat, just go ahead and type in your name and your discipline, maybe what you're looking forward to coming up, just so we can get a good feel for our audience today. And Morgan, we have somebody new that's joined our team. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Morgan?
Yeah, so I'm Morgan. I'm working with VCU's Partnership for People with Disabilities, and I'm their project coordinator in early childhood education. So you'll see me in a couple different things going forward.
Thanks, Morgan. Hey, Cindy. Hi, Mallory. Hey, Corey. I just saw you last week. Oh, I'm glad you're interested in looking at the resources to share with students. Well, hopefully this will help you today. So I'm curious, for those that have joined us, who has heard or seen any of the elevator speeches so far? So you could just raise your hand or you can just type that into chat. Okay. So it looks like we have a couple. Okay, great. So these resource pop-ups, it's really designed to give you a professional development plan that you can implement utilizing one of the resources. So the ones that we are looking at today are just specifically all about elevator speeches. And so let's go ahead and talk about what those are for those that are not familiar with elevator speeches. So elevator speeches are broken down into different categories. So we have parent perspectives, and that video series, it really just highlights just that caregiver's point of view, such as how to support their emotional state, really trusting that early intervention process, or what caregivers even wish that they knew. And so they're just sharing that from just their own perspective and their own words. The next one is the EI process, and that kind of just shows examples explaining the different components of the early intervention process, such as the child outcome summary, how you would explain that, or transition, or eligibility, and referral. The next category is pre-service. So this video series, that highlights the benefits of collaboration between local systems and higher ed. And then we have resources. So that is going to focus on a lot of different potential resources that you can utilize in early intervention, such as the CDC Act Early campaign, the Center for Family Involvement, or New Path. And then we have roles. And that series, they are really just explaining the different various roles in early intervention, such as a service coordinator, an occupational therapist, and how they would explain that to families. And then strategies. In that series, they're just looking, it's just some providers or service coordinators that are just sharing some of their favorite strategies to support families. So really what we're going to do is I'm going to stop sharing because I am going to have us explore this learning bite that really lays it all out for you. It gives you a plan on what to do. So let me go ahead and stop sharing and I'm going to show you that. So let's really explore. And I'm going to move my screen so I can share that. Okay. All right, so let's share the learning bites. All right, so everyone see the learning bite pictured? Yes, okay, great. Let me pull my chat back up so I can see. All right, tell me if this is not big enough for you to see. But everyone has access to this learning bite. You also receive that in your email. And so really it's looking at the purpose of this activity, and it's where you are going to have some kind of plan, whether it's with students, whether it's with staff. You can do this individually with staff. And so you would just pick the different, look at the different categories, options, and then you would pick which one you would want to look at for the playlist. And so again, parent perspectives, the early intervention process, pre-service, resources, roles, or strategies. And then you're going to choose the coordinating handout, or the correlated handout that goes with your topic of choice. So let's say that I am a local system manager, and I really want my staff to kind of just hear a parent's voice and resonate with that a little bit more. So I might choose the parent perspectives. And so this will lay it all out for you exactly what you're supposed to do. So what the facilitator is going to do, it gives you all the different categories and what they're about. And then you're going to go to that handout and you'll want to go ahead and play your video and break people up into small groups. And again, if you want to do this individually with a staff too, you can do that as well. And so let's go and show you an example. So here we have parent perspective. So this is a handout specifically for that. And we list all the different ones. So there's supporting the parent's social emotional state, trusting the process, what I wish I knew, don't worry about the mess, and the power of early intervention. Is there one that anybody wants to see as an example that's resonating with you more? You can type in chat if you do. If not, I'll just pick one. I'll give you a second to see if anyone types one in. Okay, the power of EI. So let's go to that, and we might be able to watch a couple of them.
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Please
Squawk.
hold for a
That's
brief
Limu's
commercial
line.
break.
That's Limu's line.
Hi everyone, my name is Amber Gant and I am the mother of an 8-year-old boy with autism who started receiving EI services at the age of 16 months old. And I'm going to quickly just share how I really feel like early intervention sets children and families up for success, not only during their time in early intervention, but in the future years. And I've really seen this happen with my son. One of my biggest fears of my son transitioning to kindergarten was being in an inclusive environment for the first time and being able to make friends and being able to handle the sensory challenges that existed outside of the world he was used to, which the sensory challenges were not as great. And I saw him thrive. And I still remember the day that I walked into his lunchroom to have lunch with him. And he was surrounded by his peers, laughing, interacting in an environment that was loud and overstimulating. And he was thriving. And it is so exciting to see the power of early intervention across his lifetime, because I know in my heart that all of his success now is a result of the early years and being able to get the strategies he needed, and as a family work together to implement the strategies, but also advocate for him along the way. And I cannot say enough about the power of early intervention.
So that was a really great one. I love how the parent really talks about how she's seen the impact early intervention had over the years. But let me show you how to get to our YouTube page and more specifically the playlist too. And I will actually pull up the Don't Worry About the Mess video. So this is our VEIPD YouTube page. If you have not seen it or you're not familiar with it, if you go down here, you see home, videos, shorts, podcasts, playlists, community. If you click playlists, and you scroll down, you will see the different elevator speech playlist options. You can also go to the full list that lists all of the videos, but specifically for this professional development activity, it's just easier to really look at the separated playlist for each category. So let's go back to parent perspectives. And let's look at Don't Worry About the Mess. So these videos are really short. So next one, it's only 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So let's take a look at that one.
Valerie Abbott. I am a 136 family educator at the Center for Family Involvement at the Partnership for People with Disabilities at VCU. And I have the opportunity to talk with families of children with disabilities, including families who are enrolled in early intervention. And way back when, we were one of those families. My youngest child was also enrolled in early intervention when she was small. And one of the things that I realize now is the importance of enjoying the visits with the early intervention provider. Enjoying your visits with your child's therapist will directly influence how engaged you are with your child's therapy and how often you decide whether to keep or cancel an appointment. So for example, when your best friend comes over or a closest relative, you probably don't steam clean your floors. You probably don't make sure every Lego is picked up. You probably don't scrub the kitchen sink. And you don't do that because you know that whoever's coming over gets it. Well, I am here to tell you as a parent that your early intervention provider gets it too. They are not coming over to be impressed by your housekeeping skills. Your therapist is focused on monitoring your child's progress and how she can best help motivate you to continue practicing certain activities in between appointments. Once you let go of feeling judged and instead open your door to let them see the real deal of what's going on at home, the relationship between you and your therapist will deepen, and your commitment to your child's therapy plan will grow, and you will begin to enjoy their visits because you aren't stressed out before they arrive. So if I could share something with parents, it would be to think about what would it take to actually enjoy your visits with your early intervention provider when they come, because it's a good investment in you and a good investment in your child.
All right, so there's an example of just a couple of the videos. And let me get back to the Learning Bite. I lost it. Okay, let me pull it back up. All right, everyone see the Learning Bite again? Okay. I never know sometimes when I'm switching what we're looking at. So what did you think about those two videos after kind of watching it? Do you see like how you might use that to support staff? And so there's also 3 other videos that are here that they can look at. I even like think about the one about don't worry about the mess and how we can even use that video to share with families, right? About early intervention and what that looks like and what are the expectations. Yeah, April, they're very quick, they're engaging videos, drives home quick some information and maybe stimulates some good reflection, right, for us and things to consider. Yeah, sharing with the staff is really helpful. Think it'll let providers understand a lot more about how parents feel. And I think that's a really important one too, Robin, because I think that's sometimes the piece that we're missing, right? If we've never been in this situation before, then how can we possibly even try to understand how they're feeling? And so it gives us a little bit more of an insight to their perspective and things that they're thinking about. Yeah, they're really quick. And yeah, Emily says she loves how she talked about not being judged by their home. Yeah, if that could be shared with families, that could be amazing. And that's something that, you know, we could do. So even talking to your staff, how can you use these videos? What would be the benefit of sharing these with our families too? And so we give you some discussion prompts already that are in place after. So you could watch all of these videos if you have time. Again, they're really quick, or you could always pause and reflect in between. So even though we're giving you some guidance on how to use it, feel free to individualize this plan to your needs of your own staff. So for example, for this, what is the key takeaway for you from this video? How's it important? What's important in your work? How do the parents' perspectives in each video compare with your own perspective, with your experience? Does a certain family come to mind when you view the video? If so, what did you learn from working with that family? How could you use this video to support families or other professionals with whom you work? And what else would you like to know about the parent's perspective? So it's just some little tips, some reflective prompts, just to kind of start to generate some of that discussion. And I think you're going to always try to follow where that discussion leads, right? And so you might have one locality that is going over it and the reflection looks a lot different than another locality. And so really just kind of following that. And this is just an example too for the early intervention process. So you'll see there's the child outcome summary process, intake, transition, eligibility, and referral here. And again, there will be different prompt questions that are different from the parent perspective one. So this one, what does a culturally responsive interaction during this process look like? That's one of the prompts. What do you find challenging about the process? How can you overcome this challenge? So getting people to really think a lot differently about what they're hearing and how they're relating to it. And here's one about pre-service collaboration. So the different videos, the benefit of student interns, the benefit of early interventionists taking students, a student's perspective on the value of early intervention, and then the appreciation for the collaboration with early intervention. And so again, kind of going back to those reflective prompts, did you intern with early intervention? If so, what did you gain from that experience? Would you consider supervising a student intern? So it's just, again, just to kind of get that conversation started. And then we have resources. So there's a lot of different resources. So we have this Center for Involvement, and there's a lot of different types of roles under the Center for Family Involvement. And so we've added a few of those. So we have an overarching Center for Family Involvement, and then we have one from the Mental Health Liaison. We also have New Path Family Support Network, the ARC of Virginia. We have the Rural Outreach, I can't even say that word, rural, Corey, help me out here, Rural Outreach Center for Family Involvement. We have another one on the Center for Family Involvement, and then the role of 136 family educators. We also have a TA Center for children who are deaf and hard of hearing. CDC's Learn the Signs Act Early, and then the Virginia Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired. And so these are resources that anyone in early intervention can access, but they don't always know a lot about, especially when we're thinking about that parent perspective and support for parents and families. A lot of these resources can help connect families together, especially, for example, if it's all about, somebody that has the same diagnosis as their child. That might be a rare diagnosis. The Center for Family Involvement might be one that you reach out to. And then we have roles. So there's a lot of different roles here that are listed, but we have the physical therapist, the music therapist, a local system manager, applied behavioral therapist, the EI team leader, service coordinator, licensed clinical social worker, occupational therapist, speech language pathologist, the role of infant mental health, BCBA, developmental services provider, monitoring consultant, another service coordinator, because everyone offers a different perspective, and then the role of an early childhood educator of the deaf. And so looking at these different roles, and again, there's going to be some prompt questions that you can facilitate discussion around. And then we have strategies. So there's a lot of different strategies, and we can always continue to add more elevator speeches as we get them in, but you can check these out. But there's one for setting the stage for successful coaching and interaction. So I know coaching sometimes is a hot topic that people want to discuss. So that's definitely one worth checking out. We have one with partnering with families, supporting picky eaters, building that rapport from the very first visit, building relationships by reviewing provider contact notes, explaining the role of an observer during assessments and visits, low-tech seating support, supporting children with visual impairments and blindness, a picture walk book reading, adaptive seating with yoga mat, the male perspective working in early intervention, why is it so important for kids to crawl before they walk, supporting parents and advocating for their child, understanding sensory processing, supporting children exposed in utero, and then using a yoga mat for tummy time. And I believe this one, the yoga mat and the adaptive seating are actually in Spanish too. So again, there are discussion prompts that are available for you. And then hold your eyes for a second while I go back to the top. You can also go and check out additional resources that are listed here too. So that is really the bulk of how you would facilitate that. And so I'm going to go ahead and pause and see if anyone has any questions about it or how you kind of see yourself integrating any of those elevator speeches into your training or as you're teaching courses. And you can unmute if you'd like to versus typing. Yeah, Angie says use them in group supervision with staff for reflection and discussion. And Angie, you can feel free to even just pick one video if there's like a specific one that you really want to focus on and have your staff reflect on, or you can choose any of them from the different categories. Thanks, Angie, for sharing. Any other thoughts or questions? I can't see y'all, so I can't see if you're typing or not. Well, if you don't have any other thoughts or questions, these resource pop-ups are really quick and easy to the point. And so I will drop in the learning bites. Let me go ahead and put that into the chat for you. So you have that, but thank you for joining us. And then we will host another resource pop-up early next year on supporting social emotional development and looking at those resources. So thank you all for joining. Hope you have a great day.